Hello, welcome to Shady Ginger Garage. Today in our short video we are back indoors. We are playing with monster truck replicas today. It's nasty outside and yeah, things we need to get done out there aren't happening today. So, in this video we are going to build an earlier Bigfoot truck using a Bigfoot 5 donor and a Wildfoot. A lot of guys have been doing this for a while now, so this video probably isn't showing the veteran guys, anything new. This is just for people that are just now getting into the hobby and wanting to build their own monster trucks. Greenlight has done a great job building some of these replicas, but if you want a traditional looking Bigfoot from the early 90s, this is essentially the only one they've put out. Now, they do have the Bigfoot name version of this same paint scheme out now, but I haven't found one. These have been out for a while. These were some of the first ones that Greenlight put out. And a lot of guys, what they've been doing is taking this style chassis from other trucks and swapping it in with this body, so they could have these trucks before Greenlight put them out. We get impatient, we want certain trucks now, and we don't like waiting on them. Now, Greenlight did recently, from what I'm told, acquire a lot of the copyrights from Ertl, and that will allow them, Ertl is an old toy manufacturer, did farm toys, and for years they had built older style Ford trucks as part of their lineup. Well, I guess they had some sort of hold on the 87 to 90 trucks, 87, 91, somewhere near the bullnose trucks that the guys are familiar with. Well, Greenlight now has that copyright, and Greenlight has already released, has already done a press release about, essentially they have the 87 to 91 bodies now. And they are, it looks like they're planning to do the early monster truck stuff with them. So, this is pretty late in the game, showing you guys how to do this. But, at least this way, if you go out and buy the Greenlight 87 to 91 body Bigfoots that are probably coming, you can also have the 92 to 96 bodies of those same trucks. So anyway, let's get started here. Just showing you the basics. What we're going to start off with is we need to remove this chassis from this body. Now, if I can get any light, there we go. There's a screw right there that you can just barely make out. There's one on each end. Take those screws out, and this chassis will be right off of the truck. And we're going to do that off camera to save y'all just a little bit of time here. Okay, we have our body and our sub chassis separated, as you can see. Just two little screws here. There's the chassis, which can be repurposed for other builds. Guys do a lot of the Bigfoot 1 or Bigfoot 2 body swaps on these. I've already done one of those. I can show it to you in the next clip. But that's what that chassis looks like. Now we have to separate the body from the riser. You can see just a little bit of light coming through back there. So what we end up having to do there, if we can get this thing to focus. Come on, focus. There is glue in a few spots here. There's usually one at the front, middle, and end on both sides of this riser here. Now, this is the dangerous part, okay? If you're a young kid, don't do this without adult supervision, or preferably have your adult do this. But you need to take a sharp object and kind of work into that little seam there in between and start working that glue loose. It can be tedious, and it can definitely be dangerous. There are many different ways you can do this. This is the easiest way I have found to do it. Again, we're going to do that off camera, just because I need to focus on what I'm doing there. Haha, I surprised myself and forgot something. Not only are these glued, they are also pegged into place. And I altered my method a little bit. Instead of using the knife to cut through the glue, which I did do some of that, I decided instead to put a set of vice grips in on the edge of this riser and just work it a little bit to break that seam. And it also helped to break the pegs. The pegs are not important for what you're doing next. in regards of securing the chassis. However, some of these, like these open pegs here, will help you to align the other chassis to this one when you separate it from this truck. Now, that is essentially our next step. So what we need to do is get this body off of this chassis. Now, it is important you do not damage this chassis. Don't bend it, don't heat it, don't, break any of the pieces of it. Man, this thing just will not focus. There we go. Apparently I'm too close. See, I'm learning. I think I'm learning. Anyway, so I know the lighting's horrible, but essentially you need to get into spots like this right here and break them free of the chassis without damaging them. I typically use a pair of these. These have a flat edge to them, so they usually perform a pretty clean break. Again, you may, when you put this truck together with the other body, you may have to, sand or file a few things to get them flat again. It's just the nature of the beast. Anyway, excuse me. So next we will be separating this chassis. Okay, we now have our body separated. Ta-da! So that's the end of that Wildfoot. Use it for parts. And now all we need to do is glue this Bigfoot chassis onto the Bigfoot body. And that is essentially what it will look like when you are done. Okay. I'm not going to bother gluing it and showing you it dangling and hanging off the whatever. This is what the finished product will look like. So then you will have an early 90s traditional paint scheme Bigfoot. And like I said, they've got the Wildfoot out. They also have this paint scheme with the Bigfoot name on it. So they are doing a lot of the Penda series stuff, it seems. It would be nice to get a snake bite, but I don't know if they'll get the rights for that one. That's a unique body, and I believe Bigfoot still holds the copyright on that, so they'll have to hash that out. But anyway, this is what your finished product will look like. So it's pretty much it for this part. I will show you a couple other builds real quick here at the end. Okay, here we are at the end of our video. A little bonus footage. I may not exactly have my lineage right here, so forgive me. But here we are with a Bigfoot 1 or Bigfoot 2 body up on the Arctic tires. That was built using a Bigfoot 1 body and a Bigfoot 5 donor chassis. Kind of like what we just did in this video. So this is a Bigfoot 1 on the small tires. I've also built a Bigfoot 2 on 66-inch tires. A lot of guys have been doing that for a while, so that's nothing new. You just swap tires and axles. Anyway, so this is a custom one I've built. Now, just a little extra bonus information here. This truck, when it debuted, had dual tires on it. So, I don't plan to waste the chassis we just took apart. I'm going to pull these tires and wheels apart if I can get them out in one piece. And we will be attempting the dually conversion, which is something that a lot of other guys have also done. It's a little trickier to do that. There's several ways to do it. But we're going to see what we can figure out. Anyway. Then we have my custom built. These guys will stop rolling. Stay put. We have my Bigfoot 8. Could also be Bigfoot 9, as those two trucks were sister trucks in the lineup. Bigfoot 9, for those of you who don't know, was taken to an event in Brazil, and when they went to leave Brazil after the event, Customs seized the truck. They still have the truck. Rumor has it the truck has been bought from Brazil. They no longer own it, but it is still in the country. Rumors are someone's going to restore it back to its original Bigfoot 9 glory. The truck has been repainted, has been altered quite a bit through the years, but it is still in Brazil, and that is all still being hashed out. But anyway, we have our Bigfoot 8. We have this one that we just built. which could pass for, you know, several different trucks through the lineup. I mean, even Bigfoot 8 had a plain Jane paint job from time to time. So, not sure what year, what range to call this truck. You could call it a Bigfoot 4. Bigfoot 4 is currently being restored by a private owner. They're hoping to have it ready for the open house in September, but we will see. I will probably end up calling it a Bigfoot 4 because, you know, all they did was update the bed sides and the front clip through the years as they changed from the early 80s to the late 80s body style and then into the 90s. So these are essentially still a 80s cab. But I do know that Bigfoot 5 had a 90s model cab on it. I've seen the truck in person. I've looked up into it to see the interior, and that is a 90s interior in that truck. But some of these earlier ones, like Bigfoot 8 was a fiberglass body, so it doesn't matter what year the interior was. Like, this is not a 100% faithful representation of Bigfoot 8. It's only representing it for the paint job, because Bigfoot 8, for those of you who know, is a full tube chassis truck, so there wouldn't be a bed floor, there would not be an interior. It wouldn't have the older style 4-link bars. It would have a drop case and, you know, basically a drop box design here that lowers the 4 links, gives it better architecture for the chassis. But as far as something you can put on your shelf and stare at and say, hey, I have a replica of Bigfoot 8 or Bigfoot 4 or Bigfoot 9 or whatever, these do the job rather well. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this wasn't a waste of your time. Hopefully, you know, if you're looking to do this shed a little light on, you know, what the process is, how to do it. It's not as tricky as you might think. It just takes a little bit of time. First time you do one of these, it could take you half an hour or so. Once you've done a couple and you know what you're looking at and what to do, how to take them apart without damaging them, you can essentially do these in 5 minutes. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Till next time, bye.